Alright, welcoming collective, evening of Tuesday, April 29th. Hope you're all doing well this evening. Tapping into this jazzy vibe. Let's see what messages Source has for the collective. Source, what clear messages do you have for the collective this evening? Starting you off with a lovely oracle card. Protection. I'm gonna try to refine this filming, kind of see as I go along. Try not to shake the camera so much the first video and adjust the lighting so it's not so bright. We'll see how that goes. So from this card, I am hearing a need to protect oneself when you perform your spiritual practices. While you meditate, imagining a shield cast over you as you're in your meditative states, protecting yourself during activities such as astral travel. It's very important, but also knowing and resting in knowing that you are protected. Some in the collective may be called to create sigils of protection. Prayer is a form of protection, so you can meditate for a moment on that imagery here. There are those in the shadow staring at a bright feminine energy who is in a meditative state, but she is protected by that sigil. Okay, I'm being told not to pull any more from this oracle deck. Let's see. We have persuasion, higher self. So from the persuasion card, this is giving the ability to persuade others. Interestingly, we have the monarch butterflies on either end. Persuasion can be done from many different mediums, by words, by the media. It's really important to stay mindful, to notice when and if you're being persuaded to act in certain ways. I am hearing some in the collective have the ability to persuade others, and you might not always be so conscious of it. It's important to be mindful of when we are enacting our power to persuade others, and to make sure that it's done for the highest good. There's an all-seeing eye just above her as this feminine energy. There's no gender in the tarot. We will get into tarot in a moment, so if I say her, I'm referring to feminine energy, but she has a monarch butterfly on one eye, the all-seeing eye above. The other eye appears to be in just like in a hypnotic state. Hypnosis could be significant. And I believe that is a bindi above her, or right onto her third eye. With a higher self here, in the collective, we are striving to connect with our higher selves. We can reach this state through meditation. Your higher self will also serve as a form of protection for you. Higher guidance, higher wisdom. This is this intuitive connection that we have with our higher vibrational being. The moon, the cycles of the moon could be very significant. Some in the collective could benefit from working with the cycles of the moon very strongly. This need to connect with your higher self as a form of protection against acts of persuasion, but also to connect with the higher self to actively persuade, because there are times when we persuade others and this could be beneficial. Let's just being able to discern between what is of benefit, what is self-serving, and what is serving of the collective as a whole. We have influence. I was hoping to get a bit more positive energy from this read, but I'm getting forms of manipulation coming through. There could be an influence. Okay, two messages are coming through. There could be an influence that is of benefit to you, which is your higher self connecting to you, influencing you, directing you. I don't know if you can hear the ambulance in the background. Many readers might see that as symbolic of Archangel Michael here protecting. I think there's a form of protection coming into this read. There's been a lot of interruptions prior to this reading. My cats are also a bit more active than during my first read. There's an influence that could be from the higher self, from higher vibrational beings, guides, ancestors, angels that are watching over, influencing and directing you. But with that persuasion card, I'm almost getting like this warning for the collective to heed, to ensure that you are not mindlessly being influenced by negative forces. Sometimes, when we partake in activities such as drinking, definitely with doing drugs, even negative talk, self-talk, and actually verbalizing it. These are negative influences that can overcome our connection with the divine and our higher self. So it's very important. I don't know why I have to say this, but it's coming through very clearly. It's very important to be mindful of when we are being overcome by other influences outside of what we are, outside of what we intend for ourselves, because it can steer us off the path that we are trekking towards in order to reach our purpose. The energy is feeling a little off right now. I'm just gonna really quickly spray clear out the energy a bit more. I did this prior, but and I also did a sound bowl meditation, but even during my first read, interestingly enough, there were some sounds in my apartment. I live in a city, so sounds are pretty normal, but this felt in my apartment and it felt like a presence, so I had to do a bit of a cleanse, and someone in the collective may need to do some cord cutting. That was a theme as well for myself, not to, self-censor here, but there could be a reason why I'm verbalizing this. There could be somebody in the protective that needs to perform a spiritual cleanse. The world can weigh heavy on us, and that spiritual cleansing and our spiritual practices can really help to shield us and protect us from negative energies. Alright, I think I've spent a good amount of time on this first oracle. I do want to pull from this next one, Sacred Symbols Oracle deck. I don't know why I keep seeing the Queen of Wands. Throughout my readings, the Queen of Wands can come up with different energies, but right now I'm getting a witchy energy, and perhaps not with the best intentions. But it's okay, it's nothing to fear, right? Fear is a low vibration, and we try to steer away from that. And it's really important to trust and know in the protection that you have. It's just almost like an observation to have. Yes, there we go. Alright, the energy is lifting up. Oh wow, so many interruptions for some reason. We'll see if this gets posted. Yeah, okay. The energy's turning about, okay. It's almost like it's starting off with a warning, but there's this, I hear safety net, protection. I see angels almost like shielding the collective with their wings. You are protected. There's storminess, some sort of chaos. Yeah, I think this is what that energy was that I was picking up. The number 3 also has been a bit of a trend today for myself. 3 is very significant. There's this saying, everything happens in threes. 3 is the Trinity. It is the Holy Trinity. It is, you know, 3 sides of a triangle. If you know, you know. There's some stormy chaos that could have happened or is happening for some in the collective. This feels like a different collective consciousness from what I was tuning in earlier today. Interesting. I see the root chakra. Gratitude. Okay, there we go. If you ever can do anything for yourself to protect yourself, it is to step into the feeling of gratitude, being grateful for the protection that you have, for the protection that's bestowed upon you by your higher self, your angels, your ancestors, your guides, source, God, etc. 8, the number 8, you have this infinite capability to be grateful, and this is what will re-energize you. It will clear the energies. It will clear out the negative self-talk. Yeah, I think there was some in the collective that I'm almost seeing like this ball at the top of the hill, right? And my earlier reads today, that ball was at the top of the hill. We were vibing high. And as the day goes on, sometimes our thoughts can, if we're not mindful enough, can take a different turn. And it could be a little bit more negative. So the ball has been rolling down the hill, I'm hearing, but it's not so far down that you can't stop it. Like the momentum, the physics of it is not to the point where you cannot stop it. You still have time to stop it and to push it back up to a higher vibration. And to do this and to aid you in doing this, you're being called to step into gratitude, to being grateful, even for the smallest of things. Whenever, personally, for myself, if I'm in a low state, I will start with just being grateful for being able to swallow. Okay, this is so strange, but to breathe, to swallow, to perform the functions, I believe it's the medulla oblongata. This is a part of the brain, and it is in charge of the unconscious functions that we do, like breathing, swallowing, digestion. These are things that do not take thought, right? Moving your arm, there are different activations of the brain. The medulla oblongata, these are automatic processes that are governed by this part of the brain. And where was I going with that? I am personally grateful for the ability to do so, because there are, you know, people out there who cannot do that for themselves, and then they pass on, they transition. So I start there. I start with the basics. If I can be grateful even for the sun, this is for someone. Being grateful for the sunlight, being grateful to smell flowers if you have any within your immediate vicinity, being grateful to hear music, being grateful to taste food. Start very small, because sometimes when you're really low, when you're in the void, it's very hard to see the light of love and being grateful for life as a whole, and oh, life is just great. Yeah, sometimes that doesn't vibrate, right? We're not there yet. It's all about climbing the ladder slowly. You're being called to meet yourself where you are and go from there. Find gratitude in what feels right, and sometimes it can manifest within the sacral chakra. You might feel some different tensions stir up there. That could be an indication that perhaps you're not ready to be grateful for what it is that you're tuning into. So go a little smaller. Be grateful for being able to see color. Be grateful for opening your eyes for another day. That sometimes might not vibrate well, right? Sometimes we're in such a low state that being grateful to be alive is really hard, and that's okay, right? It's all about recognizing and accepting that that's where you are and helping yourself move on up. It's a dance. It's a beautiful, I hear a mosaic, beautiful dance. Gratitude is really important here. Being grateful for the protection that you have with Archangel Michael in the background with the ambulance. Earth and water, interesting. So we have a lot of grounding energy. Earth, Virgo, Capricorn, Leo, Sagittarius, Virgo, Capricorn. Is it Libra? I don't know. I still have to learn my zodiac signs. Water, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. That I know. Master number 11. I've been seeing this number throughout today. The number 11. In my last read, also some of the cards that were pulled, if you look at them, number 11, some of them reduce to the number 11. This is a master number. Grounding oneself. I did say I saw the root chakra. Imagining the roots within, imagining roots coming from within yourself and anchoring themselves, I don't know why I want to point to water, anchoring themselves into the soil, into the core of the earth, keeping yourself grounded. Water energy, this is emotion, this is healing, this is, you can even think of it as family. I saw 10 of Pentacles very quickly. Family. This also could be a couple. You could be a water sign or an earth sign, and you could be either in a relationship or thinking of a relationship. It doesn't have to be romantic, with someone who is of either sign. Grounding your emotional stability, finding grounding to anchor your emotions. Emotional stability is very important. That's coming through, and I'm saying that because of this protection card. Sometimes there are forces that will influence our emotional state, because we can become blinded when we are in certain emotional states, and it's important to not be persuaded, right? Not be persuaded into a state that we do not give consent to. Gaining knowledge. When I see this card, it links to another card in this deck here that I pull from, that is also knowledge, and I think of the Akashic records, tapping into your Akashic records, and you can get to them from a meditative state. Definitely encourage looking into what Akashic records are if you don't already know. This is your spiritual library. You have access to past lives, to spiritual contracts, etc. Gaining this knowledge is going to be empowering. I'm hearing it's going to empower you as a collective, as being a part of this collective, as part of your spiritual journey. It's important that you tap into your Akashic records. Understand karmic contracts that you may have. It'll help you to see your life's experience from a more, again, global perspective. Very, very beautiful, actually. I like the change of the energy that's coming through. Thankfully, I'm so grateful. Let's get a animal oracle. I'm gonna just put these two right here. I hope everybody is having a wonderful, peaceful evening. I know for myself, I'm feeling ready for sleep, and it is not even 9 o'clock yet. It's been a day, and I have to return to my 3D. That was my cat. Excuse the noises in the background. I personally have to return to my 3D job tomorrow. But this is tarot, oracle, spiritual guidance. This just invigorates me. And I hope that if I do attract my soul tribe, that this connects for you, that these readings connect for you. I hope that they shine a light in a way that helps you move along your path and find your purpose, right? That's what we're all here for. We're all here trying to walk ourselves home, really. Home to source, home to where it all began and where it will all end. I became overwhelmed right now with this sense of comfort. Like a warm blanket just covered myself. Hawk. This is a bird of prey. Tiger. Fierce. Fiery. I love it. This tiger has a crescent moon over its third eye. And the black egg. Oof. I have chills through my body. The black egg. Spiritual. Very spiritual. So we'll go off of intuition and then I'll open up the book. Again, I'm not well versed, so if you want to speed through the book's readings process, please, I will not be offended. This bird of prey, air sign, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Libra is not Earth. Okay, there we go. Let me just take note of that. I see someone soaring the sky, gaining a bird's eye view. Again, that global perspective, that theme of a bigger perspective of what it is that we are going through here on Earth. Realizing that we're just these small, tiny beings, right? In a large, massive universe. That can put ourselves into perspective. It can humble you. Maybe there's this need to humble oneself. This can help us to step out of the ego. And it's not to say that we are inconsequential, right? We still are powerful beings, a part of a powerful source. But sometimes the ego can get in the way. Tiger, I get fierce, protector, again, predator. I'm getting like these predator, like top of the food chain vibes. Not predator as in that icky stuff. Top of the food chain. A lot of ego for some reason is coming through with this card. But I do also, it's interesting because it feels balanced with the crescent moon over the third eye, almost saying like this tiger is tapped into the intuition. I bet you when I read these cards, it has nothing to do with any of this. And the black egg, I get a lot of spiritual energy from this. This is a spiritual card, something cosmic, something, I just want to keep saying deeply spiritual. I keep wanting to repeat that when I hold this card. The color purple, I get intuition from that color. I think it's the crown chakra that vibrates on that color. It is amethyst. I'm seeing amethyst. Oh, interesting too. If you notice in these cards, red, the root chakra, and then yellow, the sacral chakra. Something's very significant about grounding, family, and then tapping into one's intuition, because we also have this purplish, pinkish colors here. Very something intuitive, tapping into your spiritual gifts. Protecting yourself while you tap into your spiritual gifts is very important. However you resonate with protecting yourself, definitely go with that. And you will know when you meditate. When you meditate, when you connect with the divine, when you connect with your higher self, with God, with, again, the higher vibrational beings that you are called to. Doesn't have to be plural, could be singular. But I'm just saying, it's necessary to ground oneself and to protect and to imagine a shield covering you and encasing you. Even after you meditate, just calling in your energy, especially before you step out into the world, calling your energy. It's very important. Wearing the evil eye could be of importance as well. Alright, let's see. Look at this. Watchful, all-seeing, messenger of divinity. Woohoo! The sharp eyes of the hawk watch our every move. This keen-eyed bird has the ability to see every little detail as well as the bigger picture. When this card appears, fate has its eyes on you. Fate, I instantly saw the Wheel of Fortune. And the winds are shifting. It is said that the hawk carries news upon its wings, and it is sent from divinity itself to deliver it. The message should not be taken lightly, though it may seem small or insignificant. It will eventually redirect your course. Sees clearly. Intuitive. This is when it is in balance. When it's out of balance, it sees too much and suspicious. So this is where I was saying to kind of call in your energy, especially after meditation, after opening yourself up with your spiritual gifts. If you're tapping into psychic, mystic types of gifts, if you engage in I know some might be deterred from the word witchcraft, but there is good witchcraft out there, okay? Don't take it if it doesn't resonate. Even when you pray, it's really important to call in that energy, because when you step out into the world, you could potentially see too much and become overwhelmed. It can de-anchor you, unroot you, destabilize you, and then your day can seemingly feel ruined. It doesn't have to be that way, right? We're always in control of how we feel, but it's important to kind of close the eye, close that third eye, especially if you're going to be in a very crowded place with a lot of people. Really closing that off, and go throughout your day, take care of your errands, do your job, whatever it is that you have to do in this 3D world. And then when you have the space and you're in a sacred space to practice your spiritual gifts, and when you feel safe, you can reopen it again. So in order to bring this energy into balance, there needs to be a perspective shift. I'm seeing the Hangman energy, seeing things differently. Again, that global perspective, the all-seeing messenger of divinity, this watchful, seeing from a distance. Okay, I think I've talked enough on there. I could go on, honestly, but let's move on. Is this fire? Let me just see. Pretty sure this is fire. It is fire. Tiger. Lunar force. Was it in this reading when I said you could be called to the cycles of the moon? I believe so. Oh yes, because of the higher self being called to the cycles of the moon. Lunar force, ease in darkness, feminine energy. There are divine feminines tuning in here. You are resonating and vibrating high. You are connecting with your higher self if you've not already connected by the point of this reading. At the beginning of the reading, I think we were having a bit of a disconnect, and now there's a strong connection that I'm seeing, almost like these threads. I'm seeing these white threads just intertwining and locking in. This is you connecting with your higher self. You are a divine feminine. Ease in darkness. You fear nothing in the shadows, because you know. You fear nothing in the shadows because you know you are protected. And she has a crescent moon on her chest, I believe. Yes. The tiger hunts at night, at one with the silence. Fear nothing. This card reminds us to take in the wild darkness, to allow the lunar forces to soothe and heal our spirits. Sensuality, receptivity, and devotion are all heightened in the midnight hour, and the tiger takes advantage of these boons. Spend some time in silence this evening, drinking in the potent calm. There is nothing to fear in the stillness except the awakening of your own power. And how wonderfully timed is it that an evening card comes during the evening of my second video creation. Oh, Source, how I love you. One in balance, passionate, strong, sensual. When out of balance, overstimulated. To bring into balance, it says Trataka. I have never heard this word in my life, trataka, and it says, I believe it means candle gazing. So I'm also hearing some who are watching could fear fire. Fire does, I mean, it has a destructive and chaotic side to it, but it also, from its destruction, can bring new. It is also passion, it is sensuality, and these, just like everything, nearly everything in life, there are two sides to a coin. There's a good and a bad. You can harness the good of fire, and when you gaze into the candle, into a candle, that is a form of meditation. That is also allowing you to gaze and connect with your higher self, with that power within you. Tap into this tiger energy. I'm getting very strongly. If you're feeling overstimulated, definitely consider candle gazing if candles do not vibrate with you. You can also gaze into a crystal like hematite, solid black crystal. Actually, here we are. You can gaze into something like this. You can gaze into a mirror. Sorry for the noise in the background. It's going to be a little loud. So it's really important to find this balance so that you can hone in the feminine energy. And it's interesting too that I've chosen this crystal specifically because it's pretty dark, and there's this call to find this sense of ease in the darkness, not fearing it. Of course, I do not recommend going out at midnight if you are alone in some forest, really dark place. Like, there's a need for fear as a form of protection to an extent. As I was saying in my first reading, it protects you, it keeps you protected, but you don't want to have it so overbalanced that you're fearing going outside. That would be out of balance. That is not a form of protection. That is a form of entrapment. So everything is a delicate balance in this human experience. It's just another reminder of that. The black egg. Speaking from an authentic voice, and weren't we talking about authenticity in my first video? Some of the highest vibrational connections that we can have is being our authentic self, the truth, Ace of Swords, King of Swords, speaking the truth. I think maybe Page of Swords can have some of that energy. Sword energy, air energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. The black egg contains one of life's essential treasures, the truth. Inside of it resides no confusion, excuses. And it's interesting, I see the word confusion and I see Seven of Cups. No confusion. Seven of Cups in reverse. Excuses, small talk, noise, or lies. Seven of Swords. Not even white ones. This living and breathing vessel harbors only that which rings true. When this essence is in balance, we speak slowly and clearly. We are drawn to activities like writing, reading, teaching, singing, and perhaps public speaking. Sounds draw us in. Books draw us in. The concept of truth itself draws us in. We start asking questions like, what do I know to be true about myself? And what is true about the world? When the energy of the black egg is not yet accessed, we speak from an unsure place. We say things others want to hear, gossip, or repeat stories to justify our subpar behavior. I love that because these actions of gossiping and acting in ways that justify our subpar behavior is very linked with the ego. I hear small-minded, very small-minded. We might even try to convince ourselves that we have no inner truth at all. The energy of the black egg hovers and waits for us to reconnect. It is available at every moment, in every situation. It is the epicenter of truth, the birthplace of our voice. The black egg and the fifth chakra. The subtle essence of this card resides at the base of the throat at the Vishuddha chakra. The ancient sages saw this center as the hub that governs our speech and expression. Vishuddha translate as especially pure. The balance of this center is important for all of us, but it is especially essential for writers, editors, musicians, and teachers. And to be honest, I think many in the collective are all of these creative endeavors, but being a teacher, we can all be teachers in everyday life. You can be a karmic teacher, very much so, or you can be a high spiritual vibrational teacher. I think many in the collective that are tuning in, and again, my readings are timeless, you are high vibrational teachers that are here to guide so many home. You can serve as a guide. You don't have to be there for the whole journey, but even if you just have one word or your presence alone is very important. It's very important during this time, during this level of consciousness. And I'm reminded again with this very dark epicenter of hematite, or, well, is this hematite? Now I don't know. It's very dark. Oh well. I don't know. Obsidian. Oh my goodness. This is obsidian, but it's still very dark. Very protective. You can gaze into obsidian if you are not ready to gaze into fire. If you're never ready to gaze into fire, consider obsidian. It's a beautiful stone. Okay, now that I have had that brain fart, I'm going to pull from this lovely oracle deck. I know I was going to do tarot, but Source does and guides as Source does and guides. And I shall heed the call. I just had this warm feeling go down my throat chakra as if I was having a delicious lemon ginger tea. I'm getting over a cold, so tea has been so lovely. You might want to consider some tea, especially in the evening. If anybody in the collective suffers from insomnia, it could help to drink some teas. Of course, do not take my advice of ingesting anything, doing anything, unless you speak to a medical professional, alright? I do not know your bodily constitutions, and I cannot advise, so here we are. Alright, growth of energy. Look at this. It's an egg. How interesting. This is an egg. Oh, I love this. The synchronicities are amazing. And look, a candle. Overcome fear. I cannot make this up. I really hope the voice sounds great. And you know, it's so interesting. I believe that's the fleur-de-lis. Personally, I'm very drawn to that symbolism. There is a tarot reader who wears this on their finger while they do their readings. And I've always been drawn to this symbolism since the start of my spiritual journey many years ago. Overcoming your fear. I think somebody who's watching this needs to overcome their fear of fire, like as in for candle gazing. There's this call to really, oh my gosh, there's a lot of candles in this reading. and the hawk, was it the hawk that spoke to candle gazing? No, the tiger spoke to candle gazing, Trataka. This is so incredible. I have to post this. There's a lot of sacred geometry in these cards. Allow yourself to expand. Do not fear and know that you are protected. You could be persuaded to keep small, I'm hearing. That could have been that persuasion card, influenced and persuaded to keep small. Don't let it hold you back. Not even for a second. Break those chains, break yourself free. You have the power to do so. You can see beyond the veil, okay? It might result in some stormy chaos, but listen, That is life. We're gonna have challenges that we have to overcome. It's gonna be okay. If it's not the end, it's gonna be okay. And even if it is the end, it's gonna be okay. Fear will hold you back when you do too much of it, when it's out of balance. You're being called to overcome this fear of shining too bright, I'm hearing. You're tapping into this sense of gratitude. Perhaps you're being called again to start some sort of endeavor that reaches people globally, to be in that star-like energy that we were talking about earlier today. Your energy is expanding. I'm seeing many in the collective ascending. The hairs of my scalp again are standing up. My left side, there's a lot of hairs standing up. There's an ascension that has happened, especially on April 27th with this new moon. The new moon is about starting new cycles? I need to perfect my knowledge of the moon cycles myself. Definitely look into the moon cycles and what they mean. It can help you to amplify the growth of your energy. I know some beliefs think that during a full moon, it's really a time for rest. I believe it's a time for release, if I'm not mistaken. Please correct me in the comments. I will not be offended. And even if I am, go right ahead. There's this significant growth of energy, this higher vibrational, that connection with the higher self. You're gaining this knowledge from the Akashic records that you're accessing on your spiritual journey. Okay. Spirit is saying, I've rambled on. Spirit and Source, they're saying, you have rambled on enough. I'm going to pick one from this Wild Mystic Oracle. I keep looking over at it. I think gold is significant for some. And whenever I think of gold, I think of like desert-like and like Egyptian, ancient Egyptian culture. So some of you, again, might be called to that, especially with the Sacred Symbolism deck, that we have the Eye of Horus that is right front and center there. But again, I'm being called probably too because of the moons. And yes, for the intelligent viewers that are out there, yes, many spiritual decks have very similar symbolisms that go across, but you know what? When they come out the way that these have, the statistical probability is quite impressive, and I really encourage you to go look into it, okay? Everything in this universe is math. I don't know why I'm being called to say that. I earlier on in the reading, when I saw in the book reading for the black egg, I thought of the Fibonacci sequence, so you might want to look into that. That's the spiral. There's a mathematical sequential aspect to that. That could be significant to somebody. And yes, I love to study. If you cannot tell. Please, again, don't mind the noises. Determination. We have Piscean with the fish energy here. Is that the Pisces symbol? Zodiac sign? Possibly. So again, Pisces is also linked with the moon. You could be a Pisces energy. There could be somebody in your energetic field who is of the Pisces energy. This yin and this yang aspect of it. Moon spirit. I'm getting moon spirit from this. There's a need to be determined in this process to center yourself in a state of gratitude. There is a need for that. A deal with some Capricorn energy. Provide Taurus energy. And death. There could be an ending to some sort of deal, to some sort of karmic contract that was made It no longer serves you. It's not providing for you, and you are stepping into being able to provide for yourself. I'm gonna have to cut the reading a bit short because there's a lot of noise in the background, so I will do a quick tarot and then wrap up the video. Alright, I am being called to this deck right here. We'll just pull a couple of tarot cards. These cards, for whatever reason, don't flip out on their own, so for the sake of time, I'm gonna have to pull. There we go. 2 cards came out. We have 9 of Pentacles and 3 of Wands. So this is a financially stable energy that is looking to the future, planning for the future, potentially with future travels. You could be coming into this state of financial well-being, financial abundance, and you could have some future plans of travel. This travel could also resemble that astral travel and, travel to your Akashic records, and this could bring forward some form of financial abundance and stability for yourself. You could, of course, share that with others, but this is very fortuitous, and I think I will end the reading here. Thank you for tuning in. If you feel so inspired to do so, please like, share, subscribe, comment down below. I really hope to connect with, a soul tribe. And if this video reaches just one beautiful soul in the collective, take this message. I hope it does you good, and I will be back with another video hopefully soon. So thank you everyone, sending you love, light, and positive energy, and until next time, I'll see you later.